Week 21, starting at approximately 144 days post-operation. Let's get right into the video. Starting off with some foam rolling, some myofascial release techniques, whether it is or is not supported by literature. It feels good. It feels good. It's something like foam rolling prior to or after workout, just in case you need to be loosened up, or maybe just some kind of self-awareness into these walking marches at Razor Sharp Fitness during these weeks. Some lateral tiptoes, staying in that plantar flexion on side to side, just working on the control and the firing. Um, More importantly, the pre-activity, so the pre-firing before actually placing the foot on the ground and maintaining that plantar flexion degree angle. And then was trialing a few different loading techniques on the towing, as we can see here. And then prior to this clip, we had the pushing. And some close-ups looking at how we're doing these bilateral pogo hops, going both forward and backwards. And then it's a little bit greater loading in terms of knee and hip flexion on these, taking a little bit more time on the ground, so decreasing that ground contact. These are a little bit sharper. And then on the force plates, got a little slow-mo video here, kind of a jump. This is just simply in the gym, showcased some heights there. I believe that was an 18 maybe. So you can tell these are still sub-maximal. I don't want to go full out. Everything else is feeling fairly decent, although at a heavier weight. And of course, using a box just to kind of lessen the eccentric loading on the way down, because the propulsive nature of things, I'm not worried about that at all. It's more so landing from 20 inches up. And then we've got some ISOs here. This is January 13th, so 145 days post-operation. Little ISO there. You can still see a big difference between our right and left leg in terms of the atrophy that occurred on that right side. But that's okay. The left side's looking a lot better. It's a good thing and a bad thing, because our right side needs some work. Needs some work for sure. Now I am using hand supports, using the uprights to allow myself to get through the whole rep, because I can't do that fully. Something to note, because it's out of frame. And I've got these kind of donkey calf raise, heel raises. These are much more comfortable in the support cross member here on the rack in the back. It's like perfect height for this. This is perfect height. I moved it down just a few weeks into rehab, just because it was perfect for seated plantar flexion activities with the force plate. Although I do have the evolved force frame, I'm not sure how much longer I will have that. So have that as a secondary precaution to make sure I'm doing trials in both the Vault and the Hawk Dynamics equipment, just because if one does go, I can't be left in the dust to compare apples to oranges. It is the same movement pattern, but differences between devices can be significant. All right, and then we have these kind of sprinter lunging holds. Ends with an isometric at the top, and we did about 10 to 12. We get these little vertebrations, these little pulses. Got little penguin marches, working on that plantar flexion. Still limited in that end range of motion plantar flexion. A little bit of pogos, and then have a little bit of different loading in the transverse plane externally. And then we have these hops back and forth. Shout out to David Gray. Yes, there's a handful of movements. I did purchase this program. It's good to get multiple opinions on rehab. I'm not too proud to say that in any light. Look out for great practitioners in the field that you can gain little nuggets from. David Gray is phenomenal. I'm not a rehab professional, but kind of doing my best to reverse engineer. Oh yeah, these cramped me up quite a bit. Reverse engineer what we're doing in the performance realm and try to cross-reference that or backtrack in a rehab setting. Is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Could someone else do a better job? For sure. but I'm also being very, very aggressive in this approach. I don't think anyone, I wouldn't say anyone, but it's highly unlikely that someone is going to want to go through with this aggressive of a rehab process, especially early stages before week 21. Now we got the super maximal. Although I can hold the end range of motion, as you can see here, I'm holding a 35-pound kettlebell. I'm trying to slowly bring it down. A lot of these weren't forced. So I can easily go up. Well, I can easily go down eccentrically. Going up, I can easily go down eccentrically, but I can't go up concentrically as smoothly with the single leg. So it wasn't super maximal, it's still sub-maximal. And then we have some really goofy videos here that I realized I had at the end, seeing how well my gliding with that transition was pretty decent. It was pretty decent. Okay, this is a lot of them. Okay, that wasn't too bad either. It could have been the depth too. It's a little bit farther away from the camera. It could have looked a lot better, but the transition with the rotation definitely didn't look too bad. Okay, stay tuned for week 22. That's coming up very soon.